Hi all, welcome back to next section, Functions, and the scope of the variable. We will start this section with functions, where we will learn types of function. Then we will learn the difference between pass-by reference and pass-by value. Moving ahead, we will learn about the scope of variables. Now we move on to the first video of this section, functions. In this video, we are going to first learn about functions and then look at the types of functions. The big question arising in the minds of the beginner would be, what are functions, and why are they necessary in any programming language? Functions are nothing but a small programming unit inside a bigger programming construct that generates a designated output. Let's try to understand with a real-world scenario. What do you observe inside a normal television? On broader classification, considering a normal viewer, it has three functions. It has a display unit. It has a volume control unit. It has a channel tuning setup embedded inside the electronic circuitry. The display unit works differently from the other two functional units, and its sole purpose is to put up a display to the user. Similarly, the volume control unit has its sole purpose to fine-tune the volume of the television. And finally, channel tuning has the main function to have different channels loaded in the memory. Functions in programming language also work in a similar fashion. Each has its own purpose defined. A method is an identical function in terms of the name, except that it is called on the object and passed on the data, whereas a function is called directly by name and passed on the data to operate. A method is something that belongs to an object or an object-oriented programming class which contains the method. Functions in any programming language can fall into two broad categories: built-in functions and user-defined functions. Built-in functions are predefined by programming languages, and each serves a specific purpose. While some built-in functions cannot be customized, some can be customized as per the programming guidelines laid down by specific programming languages. The Python language also comes with a set of built-in functions, such as len and CMP. You can get details about built-in functions from the Python documentation. User-defined functions are defined by users as per their programming requirement. Functions can be created or can exist in various forms in any programming language. We will learn in depth about various ways in which we can create a function. There are some simple rules to define a function in Python. We will look at the rules now. We should use the def keyword followed by function name with parentheses. Any argument to the function must be placed within these parentheses. The code block must start with a colon. The code within the function must be indented. This is the syntax of any function definition in Python. If there are any arguments, they are written inside the parentheses, and if the function has any return value, that would be the last statement in any function code block or function body. The function code block or function body starts immediately after colon, and ends with return value if there is any return value. In Python, the body of any code block, which starts after a colon, must be indented using spaces preferably, or else with a tab. This eliminates indentation errors, which the interpreter might throw while running the program. You can learn more on indentation from this link. Next, we will see how to call a function in a program. You might be wondering what is calling a function. In a programming language, you don't want to get lost writing a big chunk of the program, so, in order to make things easy, you write your business logic inside a function. This function has to be called when you want that particular sequence to be timed right up. There you pass the execution of the instruction to the function written for the timing of sequence. This is achieved by calling the function at an appropriate time. This is the syntax for calling functions. A function can be called within a programming construct, similar to the built-in function. Use the name of the function followed by a set of parentheses. A function can be called any number of times within the same programming file or another, or can be called within another function. Yes, you got it right. A function can call another function. Let's clear this concept using an example. Here we define the Hello World function and we give a body, which has a comment and a print statement. Finally, we simply call the function by merely typing the name of the function followed by parentheses. We save this program. When the program is run, we get this output. There are various ways in which a function can be written or exists in any programming language. We will discuss various ways in which a function can be formed in Python. First, we will look at function with arguments. So far, we saw a function which had no arguments. Now we will learn about functions with arguments. A function can contain any number of arguments depending on the business requirement. Let's try to understand with an example. Here, the func function accepts one argument which has a data type string. We create a variable str with a certain string statement assigned, and then we call the func function and thereby pass the value of str. We save this file. When we run it, we get this result. So what do you think will happen if we do not pass any argument to the function? Let us try it out. We simply remove the argument. It will simply throw a type error, as shown here. Hence, it becomes mandatory to pass an argument to the function during function calling after the function has been defined to accept arguments. Next, we will look at function with an argument and return type. Sometimes it may be necessary to return any specific data type or value from a function which takes an arbitrary number of arguments. Let's evaluate this scenario with this example. Here, we define the function, which accepts two arguments, and the body evaluates their sum with return type as the value of the sum, which is denoted by the return C statement. We then call the function in the print statement and pass the value of variable x and variable y. We save this file. When this is run, we get this result. Next, we look at function with default argument. Sometimes you will be presented with a condition where there has to be some value assigned to the argument, which will be called as the default argument. Let's try to understand with a small code example. Here, the info function takes two arguments, name and age. The age is the argument with the default value 50. In this case, during the calling of the info function, if age is not provided, then the function will set the value of age as 50. We have called the info function twice. In the first call, we pass the value of John and age as 28, while in the second call, we just pass the value of name as James. We save this file. When we run this file, we get this result, showing the name and age of the person. There might be a scenario where you need to pass more arguments than specified during the function definition. In this case, variable length arguments can be passed. Here is the syntax for the same. Here, arg means normal argument, which is passed to the function. The var refers to the variable length argument. This will be more clear through an example. In this case, we define a function which takes two arguments, where the second argument is the variable length argument. When we call the function for the first time, we pass only 60 as the value to the argument and the function takes it as the first argument. During our second call to the function, we pass 5 numbers, so the function takes them as variable length argument. Depending on the nature of arguments passed, the function either considers the first argument or the variable length argument. Let's save this file and then we run it. You could see a different output based on our passing of different values as shown here. Under certain circumstances, there might be a situation where the key value pair needs to be passed as the variable length argument to the function. Let's take one example here. Here, the key value pairs are passed as variable length arguments. We save this file. Using a for loop, we print out each key value pair that is passed to the function. On the first call, we pass only a few key value pairs, while in the second call to the function, we pass a bit more key value pairs. When we run it, we get the output as shown here. So, we have learned about the different types of functions.